Блять, нормально все. Трейд 1000 на 2000 поставил трейд нахуй. Нельзя локальный канал обновить. Надо просто перезаходить, блять. Ой, блять, нельзя. Ну ладно. Нельзя локальный канал обновить. Надо просто перезаходить, блять. Ой. Так, вот, я уже на телефоне проверил, и вот, это английское видео, и вот перевод вот тут вот будет сидеть, что... Я буду, конечно, сам переводить, но это чтобы в реальном времени было. Это видео, вот, как вы видите, ну, длится 12 часов, да. Единственное, это полный курс. Сейчас YouTube прогрузит его.
Unlike equals one prayer for the YouTube algorithm. Here's an outline of the topics covered in this video. If you would like to skip ahead to a certain section, feel free to click on any of the timestamps posted in the description. Also, at the end of this video, we're going to be discussing some tips and tricks, so be sure to watch until the very end. I'll give you 3 reasons why you need to learn Java. Besides being one of the top 3 most popular programming languages worldwide, Java is an extremely flexible language. It's used extensively by business enterprises, Android apps, games, and if you learn Java, you could land a job as a Java developer. According to Glassdoor, entry-level Java developers have an average starting salary of $70,000. That's nothing to sneeze at. So, why not learn Java? Are you still here? Okay, cool. Let's begin with the basics. Computer languages are on a spectrum between being high-level and low-level. Computers only understand binary.
Есть высокоуровневые языки программирования и низкоуровневые. Низкоуровневые языки программирования — это машинный код, то есть это то, что процессор может жрать. Есть высокоуровневые языки программирования, которые компилируются в байт-код, а потом компилируются в машинный код прямо на ходу. То есть, если вот... Да, я сейчас формулирую, блядь. И интересно, на Твиче есть стрим? Сейчас, секунду. Опа. Че, серьезно? Серьезно? Че, серьезно? Опа. О, все хорошо. Простите, я там просто с телефона там смотрю, ну, на ютубе и на твиче, так что... А я же забыл чат добавить, блядь. Пиздец. Я на телефоне буду смотреть, блядь, чат. Чат сейчас разделю. Так. Нет, мне нужен чат сейчас на телефоне. Вот, чат. Вот так. И вот так вот. А, все. Во. Вот он, чат. Так вот делаем на ютубе. И вот так вот чат на твиче. Блять. Во. Ой. Блин. Чё? Чё это, блядь, было? Ладно, продолжаем. У меня вот гилдет есть. Я могу сервер делать создать. Ну, зачем? Ладно. Что я хотел вам объяснить? Это я там просто как бы проверял все. Да. И сейчас я вам быстренько расскажу. Чё? Да. На лету вот байт-код превращается в машинный код, чтобы процессор мог это жрать. Это как бы делает очень хорошая совместимость. Есть там, к примеру, есть Java, который надо же, вы знаете, устанавливать на компьютер. И как бы, если вы устанавливаете Java на компьютер, то и на телефон у вас уже есть Java, вы можете запустить приложение из-под компьютера, и оно и то же приложение на компьютере и на телефоне, чисто теоретически. Но если там нет каких-то библиотек, которые используются только на компьютере, то есть, а вот есть среднеуровневые языки программирования, это которые как бы компилируются сразу в машинный код, это C, C++, такие языки программирования, да, и они сразу, их надо перекомпилировать или писать под каждую машину. Это хорошо влияет на производительность, ведь не надо же больше на лету компилировать код, но это плохо совместимости, только есть одна. Ну, как бы вы поняли. Ой. Думаю, можно продолжать.
It's referred to as machine code. It's a low-level format that a machine can understand. However, humans have difficulty reading binary since it's all ones and zeros. To create machine code, we write in a format called source code, which is understandable.
Да, есть низкоуровневый язык программирования, ассемблер, но он очень тяжелый, и он просто переводится просто. Обозначение придумали, и это переводит в машинный код. Ну, вы поняли.
Understandable by humans and compile to machine code. When we create Java source code, the file ends with a .java file extension. Think of compiling code as transforming source code to machine code. We do this because machines can't read source code and vice versa. Humans have trouble reading machine code unless you're a robot or an android or something. However, when we compile our source code to machine code, it's machine-specific. If we write source code and compile on a Mac, we can only run that code on a Mac, and the same concept applies for PCs. Although the Java language has a solution for this problem, with Java we have an intermediary step where we can compile our source code to a format called bytecode. Bytecode is cross-platform and ends with a .class file extension. Here's an example of Java source code, and here's an example of that same source code after we compile it to bytecode. It's kind of funky, right? Since bytecode is cross-platform, you could write your code on a Mac and then send your bytecode file to your friend, who can then run it on their PC, using a JVM to translate the bytecode to machine code. But we are going to need the help of a JVM to translate bytecode to machine code. But where can we get a JVM? Well, it's included with a JDK. And what is a JDK? Well, JDK is an acronym for Java Development Kit. It contains developers' tools to help us code as well as...
Сейчас, секунду. Ща. Может на Твиче остановить? Чисто по идее должно быть лучше. Не для этого. И если вот так вот сделать. А, да, все лучше. Намного лучше все. Да, только на Ютубе пока, да.
As a JRE, a Java Runtime Environment which contains a library, toolkits, and our JVM, which is another acronym for Java Virtual Machine, which translates bytecode for us to machine code. So all you need to worry about is downloading a JDK, and everything else will be included. And now that we know what a JDK is, it's time to download one. So open up the internet and go to any search engine and look this up. Java JDK download. Go to the first link, Java SE downloads. SE stands for Standard Edition. Go to JDK download.
Сейчас я Full HD поставлю.
Scroll down and find the appropriate file for your operating system. Since I'm
И Санта-Клаус Real, ну вот, там пасхалка есть, как
running Windows, I'm going to
видели.
download
Ну
this
тут
exe
про то, что
version.
надо скачать, в принципе.
Agree
Ничего
to
пока нам
whatever
не
and
интересно.
download. And when this finishes downloading, I'm going to open this. Open when done. On my computer, I currently have a JDK already installed, but I'm going to go ahead and reinstall it for the sake of this video. Click Next, Next, then wait a little bit. And
Сейчас, секунду, скину свою телегу. Чё с телегой, блядь? Чё с телегой, нахуй? Сейчас, секунду. Блять, ну ладно, блять. Кстати, 15-я Java это 19-й, наверное. Ну да, 2 года назад. Угу. Ну, ждем донаты, в принципе, блядь.
and close. I would also recommend an IDE. That's another acronym, and it stands for Integrated Development Environment. Think of it as software that helps us write other software. You could write code with a text editor such as Notepad, and then compile the text file, but doing so is not really beginner-friendly. So an IDE provides an interface for us to write code, check for errors, compile, and run code. There's 2 IDEs that I would recommend. They are both Eclipse or IntelliJ IDEA. It doesn't matter which one you download because the code that we write is still the same. So let's download an IDE. Now it's time to install the IDE. I would recommend either the...
Блять, я для Kotlin скачал IntelliJ, и у меня вот Eclipse сейчас вот он, как вы видите, открыт. Это я просто... не обращайте внимания, это я просто баловался с компилятором и с языком программирования. И Получается, вот, я этот код пописал. И вот, как вы видите, да. И сейчас создадим новый проект, в принципе. Файл. New. Файл. New Java Project. Сейчас загрузится. Project name. Learn. Да. Он один, к примеру. Просто create. Вот, это модуль lesson 1. Hello, вот, в принципе, сейчас. Сейчас приглашу некоторых своих друзей на стрип, блядь. Так, Майнкрафт, блядь, просыпайся, сука ты. О. Угу. Там у меня Chrome Canary, а не Chrome, блядь.
Eclipse IDE or IntelliJ IDEA. I'm more comfortable with Eclipse, so I'm going to stick with Eclipse. So go back to the interwebs and look up either Eclipse IDE or IntelliJ IDEA IDE. So I'm going to look up Eclipse, click the first link, click this orange download button, go to Download Packages, and select Eclipse IDE for Java developers, and select the correct download for your machine. I'm going to select the download for Windows, and click download, and then just wait a little bit again like usual. For me, this is currently a zip file, so I need to select this file and extract.
Может вот так, сцена свеп. Здорово, я у... О, да. О, да, донаты, я уже теперь, блядь, нормальный стример, сука. Да, это, блядь, на мой сервер, блядь, Майнкрафт. Потратились уже деньги, блядь, и я жду уже, блядь, рулетка, блядь, это, да, это, ой, блядь, может рулетку настроить, блядь, реально, блядь, рулетку настроить, не в курсе, блядь, не в курсе.
All. With the newly extracted folder, navigate to this Eclipse application. So you can select this to launch Eclipse. For convenience, I'm going to create a desktop shortcut.
Блять, это, в принципе, как установить, это пока не интересно. Потом будет интересно, но пока не интересно, как бы это странно не звучало, блять.
So for me, I'm going to go to, where is it? Send to, create desktop shortcut, and then click to launch.
Нет, 2020.
You can select a workspace. I'm going to use the default and click launch. We are now within Eclipse and we can begin a new project. We are now ready to rock and roll, so let's begin by creating our first Java program. But in order to do so, we need to create a Java project. If you're brought to this welcome screen, you can close out of this because it's annoying. And in order to create a Java project, navigate to your Package Explorer and select Create a Java Project. If you're missing the Package Explorer, you can go to File, New, Java Project, and that will take you to the same place. We need a unique name for this Java project. I will call this My First Program. And I will want to configure the JRE, the Java Runtime Environment, and we downloaded that with the JDK because the JRE is a component of the JDK. So I'm currently using 13. I'm going to change this to 15. That was the one that I more recently downloaded just now. So go to
Ну, а когда, блядь, 16-я, 17-я Java вышла, блядь? Для Майнкрафта сейчас какая Java, блядь? Какая, блядь, Java сейчас?
Figure JREs, and I'm going to click Add. Select standard VM. VM is virtual machine.
Ну это, как я повторяюсь, только начало, блядь, я, блядь, посмотрю от силы час, блядь, потому что я очень много видео устанавливаю, блядь, я какой-то, блядь, популярный ютубер, я не понимаю, почему я столько видео раз останавливаю. Ой, секунду. Жареная вода. Ложка. Сахар. Хуйня красная. Блять, чё с ногой, сука? Блять, я разъебал клавиатуру, сука, недавно. Как недавно? Там перед Майнконом. Ой, блядь, я помню, как это я смотрел, сука, говно какое-то, блядь, не Майнкон. Я клавиатуру разъебал, и вот сейчас, скоро, блядь. Надеюсь, то, что никто не спамит, где-то мой трек, блядь. Трек номер, сука, блядь. Блять, вы же говорите то, что 14 ноября доставите, а почему-то 15, сука. Блять, жмоты. Блять, вы чё, ебанутые нахуй, блять. Ой, блять. Блять. Какая-то концентрация матов увеличилась, сука. Блять, да. Скоро ко мне придут свечи для... Сейчас покажу, какой клавиатура. А нет, вы можете сами загуглить. Мне не ее доставать. Вот Tech G413, по-моему. Да.
Next, go to JRE Home, go to Directory, and I'm going to make sure that I'm selecting the most recent JDK. For me, that is 15. Select folder, finish, apply and close, then finish. If this window pops up, you can select Don't Create. That's to create a module. If you look to the left-hand side within the projects folder, we now have a Java project called My First Program, but we will need to add what is called a class to this project. A class is a collection of related code. So in order to add a class to this project, I'm going to select this project folder,
Это
then go
сейчас
to
создание... Блять, да. Это сейчас создание класса. Сейчас. Вот. Файл, new, класс. Hell. Word. Публик статику. Это вот так вот делается. Вот. И вот тут можно так вот написать. Print. System out print in Hell Word. Println, а не printin, блядь. Println. Блядь, чай. Ну вот так вот пишется программа Hello World. А, я кое-что забыл дописать. Все, программу можно запускать. Блять, что тебе не нравится, блять? Я же это закомментировал, сука, блять. Ты, блять, нормальный? Public static void main, string args. Блять, нормально?
File, new, class, and we need a unique name for this class. I usually call this main, but you can name it whatever you want. And then we are going to check this public static void main checkbox, and then click finish. With that out of the way, take a look back within your project folder. You should now have a Java file that shares the same name as your class name. My class name is named main, therefore my Java file is also called main. So this has the .java file extension, and with what we discussed before, this is source code. It's in a format that humans can easily read and understand. And when we compile...
Ну это исходный код, блядь, да. Блядь, что, нельзя? Чё, блядь, тебе... Так что ли тебе надо? А нет, блядь, не работает, сука. Тебе что, это не нравится, блядь? А чё, блядь, тебе не нравится, сука, блядь? Как там у меня, блядь, написано? Public class main. Public class hello world. Public static void main.
This source code to bytecode, we're going to create a new file that has the .class file extension, and with that bytecode file, we can run that and translate it using a JVM, a Java Virtual Machine. Here's our Java file, and we have our class, and mine is called main. So all the class is that it's a collection of related code. We won't be exploring in depth on the topic of classes until we reach the subject of object-oriented programming, which is about 20 videos.
Блять, а почему, блять, тут работает? Блять, это удалим, сука? Спасибо, блять. Блять, а тебе что не нравится, сука? А. Ctrl-Z. Вот, блять. Вот работает, сука, вот это, блять. А вот почему это не работает, я, блять, не знаю. Help. Где, блядь, тут их... блядь, блядь. ПЧВ. Блять, у меня уже... Я, блядь, пытаюсь написать Hello World, а у меня уже проблемы, блядь. Может, в Интеллич перейдем? Интеллич. JetBrains, да. Блять, ну скоро он лучше, блять, стало, блять, когда... Сколько, блять, стрим идет, блять, нахуй. Да. Бесплатно. Community Edition, да. Блять, ну скоро он лучше, блять, стало, блять, когда... Сколько, блять, стрим идет, блять, нахуй. Да. Бесплатно. Community Edition, да. Java. Халва. Сорян. Я для Kotlin это качал. Project. Блять, а где, блять? Как, блять, устроен проект от Java? Блять, я тут, да, таким я страшным образом запускаю OBS Studio. Блять, Workspaces, где, блять, Workspaces, нахуй? Блять, горячо, сука, в животе, блять. А где? Где? Где Workspaces? Я не знаю, SRC, HLV. Блять, а как папку добавить? Вот мои стримы, я заметил, то, что я иногда пытаюсь вообще не материться, иногда маты просто из меня выходят как-то очень быстро, и я не могу понять, как это вообще происходит. Моду hello, моду... А как создать? Директоре. Helv. Так, да. Helv. Угу. А, вот, да, все. New file helv. А, main Java, да. Ай, блять, как в сценарии написал Java, блять. Да. Так. Публик. Статик. Void. Main. Блять, а что тебе не нравится, сука? Класс. А, блядь, я неправильно пишу. Или, блядь, правильно. Блядь, болезнь, сука. Публик класс. А. Публик. Класс. Main. Ай. Блять, зачем тебе нужны пэкэджи эти? Shelby. Static. Void. Main. Это как у него там написано? Стринг. Да, с этими стрингами в программировании. Non-stop. Record header declared for non-stop. Ой, блядь. Что там за файл был? Вот этот вот... Что в нем? Модуль info.jv. Да, у меня еще и Visual Studio Code есть, блядь. Окей, давай, открывай. Мне надо спиздить информацию из этого, блядь. Плагиатить. Да, я смотрел. То самое видео про клонение с Майнкрафт плагиата, блядь. Это очень оно длинное, блядь, было. И... Блядь, а где оно? Я его в пятницу вроде смотрел. А что, только это? Блядь. Только этого надо было спиздить и все. Что, блядь, тут можно файл скретча создать из B3? Блядь, похер. Модуль info.java. Блядь. Блядь, чего, блядь? Жри. Модуль LV, да? Это же, блядь, не C. А, блядь, точно, блядь. Я-то думал, блядь, какая тут ошибка, сука. А я, блядь... Ой. Блядь, тебя никто не спрашивал. IntelliJ ADA. Да, я планирую на C программировать, и какая крутая темка. Ой, донатик мне бы, блядь, пришел за этот стрим 3 часов. Блядь, я буду, наверное, готовить на стриме, блядь. Кукинг стрим, как бы у нас будет. Кукинг стрим, блядь, кукинг стрим. Блять, интересно бы было бы, если бы, блять, я на стриме приготовил пельмени, блять. А почему бы, блять, и нет? Почему нет, блять? Почему нет? Почему нет? Так. Print. Блять, system out, print in. System out. Print и... А, print line, а не print in. Ой. Hello world. Ай, блядь, у меня проблемы со спиной, блядь. Почему? Сука! Блять, солнце ебучее, блять. Вот так лучше. Блять, откуда ты знаешь то, что хуй? Как хуй пишется, блять, я охуел, блять. Блять, блять. Я программист, я написал первую программу в своей жизни, блядь. Нет, не первую, я знаю, я изучаю C++. Угу. Блядь, откуда ты это знаешь, блядь? Ты шо, блядь, материшься?
Videos into this playlist, so you have some time. So this is our class. Mine is called main. Anything within the outer set of curly braces belongs to the class and is contained within. And within our class, we have what is called a main method. Our program won't run without this method because when we run our code, we begin by calling the main method. So if we were to compile and run this code, you can do so by clicking the screenplay button. All output is displayed to the console window, and nothing appears to happen because we haven't written anything yet. So if we were to remove this main method and tried to do this again, we would encounter an error because our main method was not found in the class main. It's asking us to please define the main method. Now looking back, when we created our class, we went to File, New, Class, and in order to generate the main method, we checked this checkbox here that states public static void main. So the main method generated for us when we created this class. But if we're missing it, we can easily just type it in. A textbook that I read in college said to think of the main method as a magical spell or incantation that we have to say in order to get this program to run. So we are currently missing a main method, but we can easily just type it in. So repeat after me. Public static void main, then we need some parentheses, string, straight braces, args, and then a set of curly braces. And that is it. We now have a main method. And our program runs and compiles just fine. So any code within the main method will execute starting at the top and then work its way down. So with the main method, any code you place at the top will be executed first. So let's print something to the console window. In order to display some text, all you have to do is type this. System with a capital S dot out dot print. Then you need a set of parentheses and then a semicolon at the end. So within the parentheses of this print method, we can type some text to display to the console window, but we need to make sure that our text is within a set of double quotes, and we can display some text. Let's say, I don't know, what's a food you like? I love pizza. So if I were to run and compile this, it's now going to print I love pizza to the console window. Let's say that we would like to display another line of text directly underneath the first. We can accomplish that by using another print statement. So for convenience, I'm going to copy this first line, paste it directly underneath, and display some other text, such as, it's really good. So when I compile and run this, pay attention. The output is one long line of text. The reason that this is all displaying as one long line of text is because...
Блять, я забыл объяснить. Есть print, а есть print-in. Блять, не print-in, а print-line. Я путаюсь. Print-line это когда... На следующей строке, а print это просто объединение, блять. В C++ это реализовано очень хорошо. Студиао, блять, студиао, блять. Блять, не... Блять, посмотрите, сколько проектов, блять, я создал уже.
After printing the first statement, our cursor does not move down to the next line. In order to do so, we could use a println statement, short for print line. It's as if we're hitting enter when we finish outputting our text. So let's try this again using a println statement. And now, each line of text is on its own individual line. So that's what distinguishes a print and print line statement. A print line will add a new line character as if you're hitting enter when you finish outputting your text, whereas a print statement does not. So that's the difference between the two. An alternative to using a print line statement is that we could stick with the standard print statement and at the end of our text add what is referred to as an escape sequence for a new character. Now, an escape sequence is a character.
Можно вот так же. Да, я забыл. Сделать вот так вот тоже. Блять, пиздец, пиздец, пиздец. Система. Где мои донаты? Блядь, ты чё, русский знаешь? Ты русский? Блядь, тебя ты под санкции? Блядь, ты под санкции? Санкции? Ты русский знаешь?
Preceded with a backslash, and one of a few characters that follows directly afterwards. This is an escape sequence for a new line character. When we add this escape sequence for a new line, it's as if we're hitting enter wherever we place this escape sequence. So within our string of text for our first line, at the end we're going to add \n, and this will have the same effect as a print line statement. It's going to display our text and then move the cursor down to the next line. As you can see, there is no additional change to the output within the console window. Now, what if we reverted our print statements back to print line statements and kept the additional escape sequence in for a new line character? Well, we're going to have an extra empty line of text because we're displaying our line of output plus an additional character for a new line, and then we're hitting enter at the end.
То есть, вот. Посмотрите, вот это сложилось и две строчки, а если я это уберу, вот что будет. Вот так вот, да. То есть это там все суммируется.
Via the print line statement. So we're going to have an additional empty line between these two lines of text if we were to do that. So a few other escape sequences that you might be interested in include the following. A backslash key will add a tab. So let's precede our text with an escape sequence for a tab, which is backslash T. So this is if we're hitting tab before displaying our text. And we now have some empty space preceding our line of output.
А я... Вот так, что ли, это работает? Да, смотрите. Да.
If you need to put something within quotes, let's try to do so normally. So our compiler is actually going to be confused because we cannot normally add a set of quotes because our text already needs to be surrounded with quotes. So if we need to literally display some quotes, some double quotes, we need to precede our double quotes with an escape sequence. So backslash, then quotes. So this will allow us to literally print some double quotes. So we're going to surround our first line of text with some double quotes now. And if you need to display a backslash, then you need to use double backslashes. Because if you use just one, your compiler thinks you're trying to use an escape sequence. And that's how to display a backslash. In summary, anything preceding with a backslash is the beginning of an escape sequence, and there's one of a multitude of characters that could follow afterwards. And depending on the character, this has special meaning for your compiler to do something specific. Now,
Ну тут в зависимости от символа компилятор сделает что-то, к примеру. Этот пропуск строки, то же самое, кстати, работает и в C++. Ну и такое, да-да-да.
anything that is following two forward slashes is the beginning of a single line comment. I could write, this is a comment, and this line of text is going to be ignored by the compiler. So there's going to be no change to this program with the additional comment. Anything that is a comment is ignored by the compiler, so it's useful if you need to leave yourself a note or for somebody else that's looking over your code. If you need a multi-line comment, that is a forward slash followed by an asterisk. And anything up to an asterisk and another forward slash will be the bounds of this comment. So I could write on a new line for each word, this is a comment, and all of this will also be ignored by the
Ага.
compiler. So that's how to write a multi-line comment, a forward slash and an asterisk, and anything up to another asterisk and forward slash. So those are comments. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this section on tips and tricks. And for my first trick, I'm going to change the color scheme of my IDE. We're currently using the light theme, but I much prefer the dark theme. I'm going to be joining the dark side. So in order to change the color scheme of your IDE, go to, if you're using Eclipse, Window, Preferences, under the General tab, go to Appearance, Theme, and you can change the theme here. I will click Dark, I'm going to select Apply, OK, and then Apply and Close. So the dark theme is great if you want to feel like a pretend elite hacker. For my next trick, I'm going to change the font color as well as the background color of my console window. In order to do so, head back to Window, Preferences, under Run Debug, go to Console, and you can change the color schemes here. I'm going to change the text color to a bright green, click OK, as well as the background color to a slightly lighter shade of black. That should be good. When you're finished, click Apply, and then Apply and Close, and you may need to run this again to see the changes. So that's how to change the font color as well as the background color of your console window. So it's somewhat tedious to have to write a printline statement, correct? System.out.println. Normally that's a lot to type. So a shortcut would be to type sysout, then hold Control Space, and your IDE will auto-generate the rest of this printline statement for you. Let's move on to trick number 4.
Тут это работает, интересно.
Let's say that we have hundreds of different print line statements, and we need to change the text to print because we made a mistake. So there's a feature where we can replace some text in your program with another. So let's pretend we would like to replace print line with print. So go to Edit, find Replace, and we can replace some text with something else. Let's find each instance of print line and replace this with print. Then click Replace All. So that will take care of all that for you. Let's move on to some final tips. So with spaces don't make much of a difference within your code. For example, after this dot and my print portion of this print statement, I could add a bunch of spaces for no reason, and this would run and compile just fine. I'm not sure why you would do that, but that's just to reinforce the point that spaces don't make much of a difference. Unless you're using a space to split up some keywords, then you might run into an issue, or if you're adding space to a string, well then that's going to have a noticeable effect. So spaces, for the most part, don't really matter too much, depending on where they are. Here's a trick on zooming in or out. Hold Control- to zoom out, or Control+ to zoom in. Or you could go to Window, Editor, then zoom in or zoom out within this menu. Here's my last tip for you. Let's say you accidentally close out of your Package Explorer or your console window. You can easily bring those back by going to Window, Show View, and then they are all listed here. So I would like to bring back my Package Explorer as well as my console window. Alright guys and gals, you should be ready to get started with Java. Be sure to check out the full 100 video playlist as well. And if you could do me a small, tiny favor, I would greatly appreciate it if you could help me defeat the YouTube algorithm by smashing the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Hey you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. If you learn something new, then you can help you in 3 easy steps by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.
Gaming channel. 12 часов не прошли.
Hey, how's it going everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys all about variables in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright guys and gals, let's talk about variables. Now a variable is a placeholder for a value, and it behaves as the value that it contains. Do you remember from either elementary school or middle school when we were working with algebra, we usually had to solve for some sort of variable like x or y, and x or y contained some sort of numeric value.
9 класс, блять, я изучаю, блять, квадратные, блять, формы в 4 степени, блять.
And for all intents and purposes, this variable behaved exactly as this value. Well, with programming, we can perform something similar to that, but we are not limited to just numbers. We could also store words, whole sentences, and these things called Boolean values, which hold either true or false. But if we're going to store a value within a variable, we have to list the data type of what we're planning to store within that variable. Is it going to be a number, a word, a Boolean? So we need to discuss data types. There are 8 primitive data types and a special reference data type called a string. Anything that I have noted with a star is particularly important, so I would pay special attention to these. Our first data type is Boolean. This has a size of 1 bit, so it can only hold 2 values, that being true or false. If we're attempting to assign a Boolean value, we would type either equals true or equals false. Something similar would be, let's say we have a light switch program. Well, if the light switch is on, we could say that the light switch has a value of true.
То есть, я переведу, то есть, когда вы запускаете, либо лампочка горит, либо не горит. Не может быть что-то посередине этого вечная логика, правда или неправда.
If it's off, it has a value of false. So this is binary, that's why it only uses 1 bit. It only needs 1 bit of memory to function. Next we have byte. This isn't as important as a few others.
А что, байт есть? Байт. Блять, серьезно? Ну ладно, блять, это для оптимизации. Я не в курсе, в C++ есть.
But with 1 byte, we can hold an integer number between -128 to 127 because a byte only has 1 byte of memory. A short has 2 bytes of memory, so it can hold a larger number between -32,000 and some change to 32,000 and some change. So integers are important. These use 4 bytes of memory, and they can store a number to just under 2 billion to just over 2 billion because they use 4 bytes of memory. And a long, they use 8 bytes of memory, so they can hold a very large number. In fact, they can hold a number between just under -9 quintillion to just over +9 quintillion.
Ну, то есть, int это 32. Вот, для сравнения. 32 bits, 64 bits. Блять, я смотрю, я так не... 1 bit, 2 bit, 4 bits, 8 bits, 16 bits, 32 bits, 64 bits. Блять. Там... Блять, я забыл уже, блять. 32 bits. А, блядь, int long b. $32 bits. Вот, это битность их записано, блядь.
Now a float, they can store a fractional number, specifically up to 6 to 7 digits. What makes floats different from these data types on the top here is that bytes, shorts, integers, and longs can only store a whole integer. They cannot store this decimal portion. So if you're working with a program or a variable that uses a fractional number, you'll need to use either a float or a double. And a double has more precision. It uses 8 bytes of memory, and it can store a fractional number up to 15 digits. So in comparison with a float, this has less precision than a double. And for an example...
То есть, блядь, float. Блять, флот? Блять, да, дабл. О, блять. 64 бита.
Example, I just listed a few of the digits of pi. With this example, we can only store 6 to 7 digits of pi, but with a double, we can store up to 15. There is one strange convention with floats. If you're going to assign a value to a variable that's of the float data type, you need to follow the value with the letter F. With double variables, you actually do not need to do so, so that's one major difference when assigning values between these two. Now let's move on to characters, pronounced char for short. Think of Charizard. This uses 2 bytes of memory, and this will store a single character, letter, or ASCII value. An example would be the letter F. But a common convention with assigning values to a char variable is that you need to surround this value with a pair of single quotes. And our last data type is the string data type. The size really varies because these are reference data types.
Вопрос, сработает такая? Const int g 50.
They store a sequence of characters, like a word or a sentence. You could store a single character within a string, but chars and strings behave differently because chars are primitive data types and strings are reference data types. So let's distinguish the difference between primitive and reference data types. Here's a super quick description.
Блять, реально? 18 миллиардов, блять.
Between the differences of primitive and reference data types. Primitive data types, there are 8, and we just discussed them. They are Boolean, byte, short, integer, longs, all those cool things that we just discussed. Reference data types, like strings, well, there's an unlimited...
Есть примитивы и дифференсы. Примитивы, они как бы уже заданы их длинные значения тут, а у референсов не задано. Уже целых 4 гига оперативки.
Limited amount because they are user-defined.
Выделить.
Primitives store data. Reference data types store an address. Primitives can only hold one value. Reference data types could hold more than one value. Primitives use less memory compared to reference data types, which use more memory. And primitive data types are faster compared to reference data types, which are slower. Now you're probably thinking, cool story bro, but how do we create a variable? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. So the first process with creating a variable is that we need to declare the data type of what value that this variable is going to store. So
Объявить и желательно, чтобы ее к чему-то приравнять, как вот тут вот сделано, вот как я вот тут вот сделал. Либо можно потом приравнять, но только, блять, код не будет знать и программа крашнет.
come up with a variable name, like x, and we will precede this variable with the data type of the value that we're planning to store within this variable. And then with all statements, we follow this with a semicolon at the end. The next step is called assignment. We will take our variable and assign it equal to some sort of value of the data type that we declared this variable to be. But you could combine steps 1 and 2 together, and this process is called initialization. We would take the data type, followed by the variable name, and set it equal to some value, and then add a semicolon at the end to finish the statement. So you can either do this in 2 steps with declaration and assignment, or combine them both together, which is initialization. How about we create a few variables? Does that sound good to you guys? So let's begin with creating an integer variable. Let's say int x. This step is called declaration. We are declaring the data type of what value is going to be contained within this variable. The second step is called assignment. We can assign our variable a value. Let's say x equals 123. And this step is called assignment. Or we could combine both of these steps together, and this process is called initialization. Int x equals 123. And this would be
декларация, assignment, это что значит сейчас? Я довольно-таки хорошо знаю английский, но Блять, Блять, смотрите, я пытался перевести, жопа, блять, получилось. Блять, сука. Назначение. Assignment, назначение.
Initialization. So we can do stuff with this variable. It will behave as the value that it contains. We could print this to the console window, so within a print or print line statement, we could print the value of x. So make sure you do not write this within quotes. Right now this will display the value that is contained within x, which is 123, because this variable behaves as the value that it contains. If you were to surround this with quotes, what we are doing now is printing a string literal. You can also print text as well as a variable together. Let's say we have a sentence, a string literal that states, my number is, and then if we want to do some string concatenation with a variable, we would add plus and then the variable name. Make sure this is not within quotes. So this will display the sentence, my number.
Блин, спасибо, я не знал, блять. На C++ это... Блять, легко делается. Заодно сравним Java и C++. Ой, я подумал, блять, Bedrock сказать, потому что это Майнкрафт. Ну нет, это не Майнкрафт, это язык программирования. Может быть, вечером еще постримлю. Тихо. Пока Visual Studio думается, блядь. Пошел нахуй. Да, C++ это где-то вот... Сейчас, блядь, покажу, как это делается. О, блядь. Вот так это все делается. Вот так C++, да.
Is plus our variable, and in the console window it states, my number is 123. So with integer variables, the largest number that you can store within an integer variable is just over 2 billion. Let's say we are working with an extremely large number, like the amount of student debt that I owe. Well, this number is too large to store within an integer variable. We would probably want to use the long data type. And one convention with assigning values to a long variable is that you need to follow this number with a capital L for some reason. So we can now work with extremely large numbers. So this might be useful if you're working with numbers like the speed of light or something. So we now have a long variable and we can display this value. A few of the other data types that we mentioned were bytes and shorts. They have a lesser number that they can store. So with bytes, you can only store up to, I believe, 127. So we could store like 100 within here, and this would be fine, but 130 would be a little too much though. So we don't tend to use bytes and shorts too much as a beginner because it's just way more convenient to work with integers. But you might use longs every once in a while too, but as beginners, we're mostly going to be sticking with integers. Now, a double can store a number with a fractional portion. With integers, we cannot store a decimal portion. So if this was 123.01, well, we cannot store this decimal portion. We can only do so with a float or a double. So with a float, you would type in float for the data type. Let's create a new variable like y. Float y equals 3.14. And a common convention for assigning numbers, well, values to float
Число пидора.
variables is that you have to follow this with f. So you can store a number with a decimal portion within a float or a double, and then we could display whatever this value is. So y is equal to 3.14, but people tend to use doubles more because they have more precision, and then you do not need this f at the end. So this will store up to 15 digits after the decimal portion. So we also have booleans. Let's say boolean z equals, this holds either true or false. And then we can display what value is within this boolean. So if we print our variable z, this will display false. Or we could hold true, and this will display true, but we can't display anything else besides those two. Like we cannot hold the word pizza because booleans only hold true or false. We have characters, char for short. Char, and we don't necessarily need to come up with a variable that's only one letter.
Вот так чар записывается. Вот так.
We could have a name or something that's descriptive for this. Let's say we have a variable called symbol. Char symbol equals, and then place a character within single quotes. Let's say we want the @ sign. So we now have a...
А вопрос, вот это вот работает? Char... Оу... 40% на телефоне, блядь. Работает, блядь, работает.
A variable called symbol that contains the @ sign. So if I were to display this variable symbol to the console window, it will display the value that is contained within, which is the @ sign. And lastly, we have strings. So with strings, these start with a capital S because they are of the reference data type. Anything that's a reference data type begins with a capital letter. And let's say we want to store our name. So string is the data type. Let's say the variable name is name equals, and to store a string, it works similar to a string literal. We're going to use a set of double quotes and display or add a bunch of text like my name. And then I can now display my name to the console window, or I could do some string concatenation too. and display the word hello plus my name. And within the console window, it's now going to display hello, bro. So that is everything you need to know to get started with variables in Java. If you would like a copy of all this code, I will post all of this in the comments down below. Don't be afraid to smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. How's it going, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can swap two variables using Java. Let's get into it. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright, well here we got two variables. We got variable X, which contains water, and variable Y, which I'm going to put Kool-Aid in. More specifically, black cherry Kool-Aid. So let's just put this in.
Юппи, что ли?
Good enough. And let's mix it. Perfect. So we're going to create two variables, and these are going to be of the string data type. So we'll have string X equals the word water, and string Y equals the word Kool-Aid. And then let's display these with a simple print line statement. And within here, I'll just type in X colon space plus the variable X. And then let's do the same thing for Y. So we'll change X to Y. And let's display these. So X currently has water and Y currently has Kool-Aid. So what happens if we set X to equal Y? Well, we get Kool-Aid for both X and Y. Okay, we're going to assign variable Y to variable X. Shit. So yeah, it looks like we have Kool-Aid in both variable X and variable.
Блять, чё я сделал, блять? Давайте я сам решу эту задачу. Сильно получилось. Стринг Y. Сейчас я пытаюсь решить эту задачу. Сейчас я решу эту задачу. Сейчас она строится. Билдится. Поменялось, смотрите, да. Поменялось.
To equal x. No, we just got water everywhere. Let's try this again. We're going to assign variable x to variable y this time. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. Guys, my floor is getting really sticky. So it appears that we're going to have to store one of these values within another variable in order to switch these. So one thing that we can do is introduce another variable, and let's call this temp, and temp is empty. Let's create another string. So we'll create string temp, and we can either set this to null, or we can assign no value at all, where we simply just declare temp a variable. So what we're going to do is actually take x and store x, whatever value is in here within temp. So we are going to type temp equals x. So now x can be filled with something, so we're going to fill it with variable y. So on our next line, we're going to set x to equal y. Then we're going to take our temp variable and store this within
Вот, я это
y.
уже сделал.
And lastly, y equals temp. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, we have switched the contents of x and y with the help of our variable temp. Now back to you, bro. Thank you for the live update, Anchor Bro. It appears on our end that we have also switched the contents of x and y as well. So, in conclusion, if the programming language you're using doesn't have any direct function to switch two variables, you could do this manually, and you can create another variable such as temp. And temp is a temporary value to temporarily store one of these values. You can set temp to equal x, or you can do this with y, and then set x to equal y, and then y to
В
equal.
таком же порядке интересно. Так, темп. Я угадал порядок.
So your assignment for today is to post two variables in the comments down below and the code that you used to swap them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you can swap two variables. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your bro. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how we can accept some user input in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the
Я
show.
помню, я гуглил это. Сейчас давайте будем записывать.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. One like equals one prayer for the YouTube algorithm. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to explain how we can use a scanner to accept some user input. The scanner class is found in the Java utility package of your library, and we need to import that before we can use the scanner. So outside of the class, at the top of our program, this is what we're going to type. Import java.util, and the name of the class we would like to import, which is scanner.
Все. Сканер. Так, да. Как он дальше там пишет?
Then a semicolon. Now we can use the scanner class to create a scanner object. So we're going to be performing a little bit of object-oriented programming. We'll be covering object-oriented programming in a later part of the series, so don't worry. So repeat after me. Scanner, then we need a name for the scanner. Let's call it scanner, all lowercase, equals new scanner. Then a set of parentheses and a semicolon. Within the parentheses, we're going to type system.in. And there we go, we have our scanner. So we can use the scanner to accept some user input. So let's let the user know that we would like them to type in something, maybe a name. Let's create a prompt that will ask somebody for their name. So within a print line statement, we'll type, what is your name? And next what we'll do is take our user input and assign it to a variable, perhaps a string variable called name. String name equals, and now we're going to use our scanner. So we type in the name of the scanner, dot, and to enter a line of text, we're going to use a certain method of...
Сейчас запишу. System.in, да. String name, к примеру, равно skn. Skn. Так, давайте запустим. Причем тут там что-то надо еще сделать.
Of the scanner. It is the next line method. And when we type in user input, we...
Next tool. Next line. Next. Были такие компьютеры Next Line. Нет, не Next Line, а Next. Потом Стив Джобс их создавал. Сам. Next Line. А, да, работает. Смотрите. Сейчас. Ладно, давайте чистим от матов. Давайте. Давай компилься. А, он уже скомпилился. Да, надо же вывести. Так, system out print line name. Да? Вот так? Да, так. А, да. Так. Я не знаю, как... Да. Работает. Фух. Пусть телефон с выключенным экраном будет.
Type it into the console window here at the bottom. So let's do something with this name. Maybe display this within a message. System.out.println, hello, plus whatever your name is. So let's compile and run this. What is your name? Now our program is currently paused until we type in some user input and then press the enter key. When you press enter, that's how you submit some user input into the console window. So I'm going to click within my console window and type in something. I'm going to type in bro, and to submit some user input, you press the enter key. And it states, hello.
Каким образом я угадываю, какие программы будем писать? Я просто случайно имя, программу, которая выводит имя, и видео программу, которая тоже выводит имя. Каким образом я угадаю? Ладно. Это, наверное, легкий пример.
Oh, plus my name, which is what I entered, bro. Now, there's different types of input that we can accept. This time, let's accept only an integer number. Perhaps we can ask somebody for their age. So let's write a prompt for that. System.out.println. How old are you? And this time we will declare an integer variable, maybe called age. Int age equals.
Да, тут... ну да, тут то же самое. Age равно scan... Next line. SKN. Это что тебе не нравится? Или лонг тебе нужен? Или байт тебе нужен?
Scanner dot next, and we are looking for int. So we can only accept a whole integer. You are plus age plus years old. Okay, let's try this again. What is your name? Bro, how old are you? Let's just say that I'm 18. Hit enter. Hello, bro. You are 18 years old. So what happens if we do not enter in a number? So let's try and break this. What is your name? Bro, how old are you? We're not going to enter a number this time. Let's type in the word pizza and see what happens. Well, we encountered an exception. We encountered an input mismatch exception because when our scanner is looking for an integer, we typed in a string. So we need to make sure that the input type...
Тут надо именно к типу ввода, если это для лонга или инта, либо таких, то это должен быть int, либо для стринга или как там, или чара, там свои должны быть. Ну, тут каждый тип для своего, в принципе, предназначен.
The data type matches. In a future lesson, we'll be covering exception handling, where we can prevent this very thing from happening. But for now, since we're beginners, we'll just have to be sure to type in the correct data type of the input that our program is looking for. Now, there's one more thing that I want to show you guys. This is a common problem if you use next line after next int or anything else that's not next line. So let's ask somebody for their favorite food this time. So let's add that at the end. System.out.println, what is your favorite food? Then we'll create a string variable called food. String food equals scanner dot next line. and we will display this. System.out.println, you like plus food. Alright, so here are the questions. What is your name? Bro. How old are you? 18. Now pay attention to this when I press enter. When we reached the question on what is your favorite food, well, our program skipped our user input and continued on with the rest of the code. So it states, hello bro, you are 18 years old, but we were not able to input anything for our favorite food. Here's the reason why. Here's what's going on. Let's pretend that this box is a representation of our scanner, and we're going to use the next line method of our scanner to read a line of text. So we type in our name and then press the enter key to submit. So this \n is an escape sequence for a new line. The next line method will read an entire line of text and stop when it reaches a new line character. So after we call the next line method, our scanner is going to be empty. However, if we were to call a different method that doesn't read a new line character, such as next int, so we type in our input, such as the number 18, and then press the enter key, that will add a new line character. So our next int method is only going to read this numeric portion of our scanner, and then when we submit it, well, this new line character is still going to be within our scanner. And if we were to use our scanner again and call a different method, like next line, well, our next line method thinks that we're at the end because there's this new line character within our scanner, so we would need some way to clear out that new line. One easy fix for this is that after you call the next int method, what we could do is call the next line method to clear our scanner. So I'm just going to copy this portion and paste it. We're not really going to do anything with that new line character, this will just clear the scanner for us. So now we...
Да, все понятно, все понятно, все понятно. Просто вот так вот сделайте все. Сейчас, секунду. Блять, да. Отлично, нормально работает.
We should be able to answer all three questions. So type in your name. What is your name? It is bro. How old are you? Let's say I'm 18. What is your favorite food? And you can see that it paused this time, unlike the first time. And my favorite food is pizza. Press enter. Hello bro, you are 18 years old. You like pizza. Well then, that is one way in which you can use a scanner to accept some user input. Scanners are capable of much more. You can also use them to read the contents of a file and a few other things, but we'll learn about those in future videos. And if you need to use a scanner, be sure to include this import at the top. Import java.util.scanner, because the scanner class is found within the utility package, and then you'll need to create a scanner object just by following these steps. Scanner, you can call it scanner, equals new scanner. Well guys and gals, that is how scanners work in Java. Before you go, I would greatly appreciate it if you could do a favor for me and like this video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. How's it going everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys about expressions in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Операторы.
You can become a hero and save our channel by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Now, an expression is a combination of operands and operators. An operand is the values, variables, numbers, or different quantities that you might see in a program. And operators, they are those arithmetic symbols that you might see, such as the plus sign for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then modulus. So let's go over a few examples, just so that we know how they work. Let's say I have an integer variable called friends, and I will set this equal to maybe 10. So we can change the value of the friends variable by using an arithmetic expression. So let's say that we make a new friend, so we're going to add 1 to my variable of friends. To increment my variable friends, I can just use the plus operator and then add a new operand to my variable friends. So if I would like to assign a new value to my friends variable, I'm going to type in the name of my variable equals friends plus 1, because we made a new friend, and then I will print the value of friends. So our friends variable now contains 11. So we could also subtract, take a wild guess as to what's going to happen. We just lost a friend. Let's multiply. Let's multiply our friends by 2. And now we have 20 friends. And let's divide. We're going to divide our friends into 2. And we have 5 friends. Now the modulus gives you the remainder of division. So we have 10 friends. What if we had modulus 3? Well, that does not divide evenly. So we're going to have a remainder of 1 friend. It's kind of like in group projects where everybody has to get into a group of 3, and there's always somebody that's left over. Think of it that way. Although, if our group of friends was divided into groups of 2, there would be no remainder, because 10 divided by 2 equals 5 evenly, and there is no remainder. So that's all what the modulus is. It gives you the remainder of any division that occurs. Now, there is a shorthand to increment a variable by 1. So normally, the long way of writing this out would be type in the name of the variable equals, because we're going to reassign a value, friends plus 1, right? Well, there's a shorthand way of incrementing this, and that is to use the increment operator, which is just plus plus, and then a semicolon. So this will add 1 to a value. And now we have 11 friends. If you want to decrement, that would be minus minus. And now we have 9 friends. Hold up, wait a minute. Before you go, I gotta discuss integer division because I forgot to talk about it. So if we divide a number by an integer, if there is normally a remainder, well, our program is going to truncate the remainder. Here's an example. Let's say we have 10 friends, and we're going to divide our friends by 3. So we're dividing by a whole integer. So our result should be 3.33 repeating, right? Wrong, it's 3. That's because with integer division, we truncate.
Потому что это не float, это это int. Чтобы... Давайте я предположу, чтобы превратить, к примеру, int g равно a 10 system out print line G. А вот теперь in а теперь вот так вот скопируем, ставим. Float. Сработает? Обновить. Работает. Да, как вы видите, это работает. То, что я предположил.
Any decimal portion because we cannot store it. One easy fix for that is we can cast our result as a double value or a float as well. To cast a value as a different data type, to the left-hand side of our expression, we're going to list the new data type that we would like to convert this value to. So we would like to convert our integer as a double value because we would like to retain that decimal portion of our result. However, our data type, friends, is an integer, so it cannot store a double data type. So we should probably convert this to a double so that we can store this value. And now this program will successfully store this decimal portion of our expression. Well, that's really all you need to know to get started with expressions. If you would like a copy of all this, I will post this in the comments down below. And if I could ask for a favor of you guys, just to like this video, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys how we can make a very basic GUI application in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Наконец-то? О! Интересно.
If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright guys and gals, I'm going to teach you all how to create a very basic GUI program. GUI is an acronym for Graphical User Interface. It's a visual program that we can see and interact with, kind of like this. So we'll be using the
Вот так вот это... Вот оно, GUI.
option pane class and be creating a few message dialog boxes. Before we begin, we'll need an import, so outside your class, let's type this. Import javax.swing.
Сейчас я все это почищу. Javax.
J option pane. So we will be working with the J.
Как быстро дошли. Java X swing. Import А что тут не... Ладно, давайте... Допустим, клипс. Секунду. Что там? Загружается? Откуда это? Два часа я стримлю, что ли? Ну давайте над этим куролесить, значит. Шавакс. На Eclipse перешли в итоге. Угу. Javax Option Pane.
Option pane class. Now, what we would like to do is type in some user information into a sort of dialog box, and we'll store this as a string variable called name, kind of like what we did on the video on user input. String name, and in order...
Ой. Давайте просто посмотрим, ничего не будем делать, потому что...
To create an input dialog box, we're going to type the name of the class, JOptionPane.
Сейчас, секунду. Ладно, мне кажется, то, что я не стоит стрим завершать, потому что мне надоело 2 часа-то стримить. Я завершаю стрим.